Welcome to Sports Zone 247, your ultimate source for all things football. Stay up to date with the latest football news. Match highlights, transfer rumors, player updates, and in-depth analysis from top leagues around the world. Our first news is Liverpool facing potential injury crisis as Arne Slot rules out new signing. Liverpool have only played one game in the Premier League this season but have already suffered a major blow after news that right-back Jeremy Frimpong will be out for a number of weeks with a hamstring injury. Liverpool boss Arne Slot has confirmed a huge blow with new signing Jeremy Frimpong set to be ruled out until after the first international break after suffering a hamstring injury. Frimpong was signed for around £30 million from Bayer Leverkusen as a direct replacement for the outgoing Trent Alexander-Arnold, who joined Real Madrid after his contract expired. And the speedy right-back had impressed many fans with his displays during pre-season, with the player being substituted on the hour mark in their 4-2 win over Bournemouth on the opening day of the Premier League after complaining of a hamstring problem. But Liverpool will have to make do without their new addition for the next few weeks after his frustrating setback, with potential replacements Connor Bradley and Joe Gomez also struggling for fitness. Bradley has only just returned from an injury issue of his own, training with the team for the first time on Thursday. However, Slot went out of his way to praise his medical staff for ensuring Frimpong's issue didn't become more severe. Connor trained with us for a few minutes today for the first time. Medical team was completely right about Jeremy to take him off because he's out until the end of the international break. We felt Jeremy had an issue in his hamstring, the medical team did. They were right. A good call from them as otherwise he could have been out for even longer. Slot played down the significance of the recent injury setback suffered by both players, saying fitness problems can happen to any player. Jeremy has a very positive injury record, the Dutchman added. Connor has been out once or twice last season. These things happen. We only have 2 injuries at the same moment but they are in the same position. Meanwhile, Slot gave another update on Joe Gomez, who has also been battling to return to the first team after a long-term injury. The former Feyenoord boss added that was impossible to avoid such a situation in defense if injuries occurred and said he couldn't sign more players in one position just in the event that players become available. Joe Gomez hasn't had a setback but he wasn't able to train 3 days in a row. We will see where he is on Monday and if he can start. You can't prepare for injuries in one position, you can't have 5 right backs. Although we do have 3 left backs at the moment. Our second news is inside Arsenal's Eberechi Eze transfer heist as players' decision was always clear. Eberechi Eze grew up worshipping Arsenal and there was no doubt he was always going to choose the Gunners once they made their interest known, having been heartbroken when they released him aged 13. It is said to be the biggest transfer heist since Tottenham ended up paying Emmanuel Petit's taxi fare to sign for Arsenal. But as soon as Eberechi Eze got the phone call, there was never any doubt in his mind that he would snub Tottenham to sign for his boyhood heroes Arsenal. This is the player who grew up worshipping Arsenal, was heartbroken when they released him at 13 and there is a video from 2018 of him doing the rounds on social media saying they are his favorite team. But Eze's dramatic U-turn, from the brink of joining Tottenham to agreeing terms with Arsenal, goes a bit deeper than the frantic negotiations with Crystal Palace on Wednesday evening. The seeds were sown much earlier in the window and that was when Eze had his head turned and set his heart on Arsenal. Eze, 27, was made aware of Mikel Arteta's interest in him, just how much the Arsenal manager rates him and also his vision for the England player. From that moment on, those around Eze insisted he set his heart on Arsenal and even as he was close to joining Spurs they always felt he really wanted to go to the other side of the Seven Sisters Road. Arsenal's sporting director Andrea Berta made it his business to speak to a lot of players this summer, even more agents and just as many clubs. But Eze stood out from the crowd and was a player Arsenal really wanted, but were just struggling to do the sums and also fit him into an expanded, growing squad. The key was they were sweating on youngster Ethan Nwaneri and whether he would sign a new contract. Borussia Dortmund were banging for him, they were much closer than Chelsea ever were to tempt him away and there was a genuine concern. But Nwaneri decided to stay, was given a mega contract and also not the promise but certainly a commitment to give him a pathway and minutes in the first team. Arsenal see both players as more central rather than wide players. So once Nwaneri stayed, Eze's route to Arsenal was much tougher. They were signing player after player. In came Noni Madueke for £52 million and they still have not offloaded Gabriel Martinelli or Leandro Trossard. They will now have a very crowded squad in that department, but Arteta's vision is that Eze can play wide left. He can play as a number 10. He can play centrally. He has strength, goals and a real creative spark. He has so many qualities, and when Arsenal suffered the blow of losing Kai Havertz to a knee injury this week, the deal suddenly became a goer again. Eze is no centre forward but gives them options. He could play off Victor Gyökeres. He could be competition for Martin Odegaard. He can play wide. That is why he is so attractive. He is also a bright character. Our last news is Man United suffer Rasmus Hojlund transfer blow, and Erik ten Hag is to blame. Rasmus Hojlund has found himself out of favour at Manchester United following the arrival of Benjamin Sesko, but a potential exit route for the Dane may have closed. Manchester United have been dealt a blow in their efforts to cash in on Rasmus Hojlund this summer. Danish striker Højlund has been a target for AC Milan, with United hoping for a chunky transfer fee, but the Rossoneri have moved on to another target. Curiously, former United boss Erik ten Hag has played a part. Milan are closing in on Nigerian striker Victor Boniface, who has spent the last 2 years at a Bayer Leverkusen side who now have ten Hag in the dugout. According to BBC Sport, Milan are set to bring in the 24-year-old on loan, with an option to make the move permanent. Reports elsewhere put the option at around £26 million, significantly less than United's asking price for Højlund. Boniface scored 21 times in all competitions in the 2023-24 season as he helped Leverkusen win a league and cup double under Xabi Alonso. He got fewer minutes last season, but still found the net 11 times. There is no word on whether Leverkusen themselves will enter the striker market after allowing Boniface to leave. However, last season top scorer Patrick Schick will continue to lead the line, while Martin Terrier is expected to return to action in the autumn after a serious Achilles injury. The latest development leaves Højlund in an uncertain situation. The Danish international joined United for £72 million from Atlanta when Ten Hag was in charge, but was left out of Ruben Amorim's squad for the defeat to Arsenal on Sunday. "It is our player, we have to make choices," head coach Ruben Amorim told BBC Radio 5 Live after the game. "We have players that have to stay helping the team from the outside." Højlund isn't the only United player who could yet leave the club before the transfer window slams shut on September 1st. Jadon Sancho has attracted interest from Serie A, and Chelsea are haggling with United on evaluation for Alejandro Garnacho, while we could also see exits for Antony and Tyrell Malacia after the pair were left out of Amorim's squad for the club's pre-season tour. Matheus Cunha started up front for United against Arsenal, with new signing Benjamin Sesko coming off the bench. Slovenian forward Sesko will be knocking on the door for a first start as United travel to Fulham. Sometimes you can look at the game in many ways. In the first half, Cunha has to go out because the centre-backs are very strong, Amorim told Match of the Day after United's weekend defeat. Then you have Sesko and you have a different type of player, and that is important for me that we have players to play different games. If you love football transfer updates, league news, and all things soccer, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Let's stay connected and keep up with the latest from the world of football together.